All right, guys, so here we go again. Let me show you how I would use a mind map in a clinical practice setting. And one of the things we're struggling with in chiropractic, especially here in the state of Texas, is about the nervous system, right? So we know that subluxation is a vertebral subluxation, a biomechanical alteration of vertebra that has a neurological consequence to it, right? Now, in the area of functional neurology, we also know that stress, poor nutrition, lack of physical activity can affect how the brain is functioning and can create downstream segmental motor dysfunction as well. So we see a lot of things in our practice, right? Let me just give you an example of a patient that, let's say, they come in with hypertension, okay? Watch how we can use a map. So here we have a patient, and they're coming in with hypertension. Let me try another color real quick, if that's all right. Let's go back to our trusty blue here. And let's say they're coming in with hypertension. But what they ask about is they say, well, hey, can chiropractic help? So here's part of what goes on. So chiropractic. Now, in this regard, we'll look at chiropractic as the detection and correction of subluxation, all right? Then we can also say, well, what can we do nutritionally? And then what can we do, let's say, from an exercise perspective? Now, I bring this up because I get a lot of calls from doctors and people kind of around the world saying, well, hey, Dr. Hall, how would you approach this patient? And believe it or not, I think what I've been doing for really a really long time is a mind map. So every case I kind of put together, I have a certain approach I go through. So a lot of times I'm known for having a doodle pad, having a sketch pad, because this helps me. So I could say, if this patient asked you, can chiropractic help with hypertension? Well, by scope of practice, the answer is you can't really say I can't treat hypertension, but we do know that, hey, you know what, with the things that we do, we may be able to improve it. So let's look at the tools that we have in our toolbox, right? So we do know that when we adjust, we can activate the prefrontal cortex, and then through the PMRF, we can inhibit the rostral IML and have a lowering of blood pressure. If that's successful on a diagnostic protocol, then we can create neuroplastic pathways to continue that. We also know that over here under nutrition, that we could reduce calories if you want to. We could begin to reduce salt intake. We could begin to increase hydration. We could begin to do a variety of things that from a nutritional perspective could work to lower blood pressure. We could also come over to exercise and say, well, under exercise, there's aerobic and there's anaerobic exercise. So now we can look at the keto approach. If I want to be aerobic and burn fat, we can create some ideas and some plan around this area. But we can also say, well, what about high intensity training to increase testosterone, increase cardiac strength and contractility? We can do some things here. So now the patient who comes in that says, hey, can you help me with hypertension? Or maybe it's their neurodevelopmental child, or maybe it's their memory. It could be a variety of things, but the idea is that you start to kind of make a map and go, well, what are the tools that I have? And so define the tools for your practice. It could be nutrition, it could be exercise. Under chiropractic, could add functional neurology, could add electrotherapeutic modalities, could add acupuncture, and then you start giving each of these some time. So this is much like you see a tree that begins to kind of branch out. And so this is the mapping that we talk about, okay? So here is your core, much like you have here with the patient, and then each of these represents a branch with smaller and smaller limbs. So this is an example of a mind map that can be used in your clinical practice with a patient. I hope this helps, and let's talk some more.